Bang.
Hey,
We are live.
everybody. What?
We're live.
I know. I was doing the whole thing of saying, hey, everybody. It's Two Chicks in a Radio. Welcome to our channel of awesomeness. Y'all are on mine tonight, actually, DixieDX. And this
Yeah.
is Rhea. And she's got a snowstorm coming in. So, Rhea, what are you doing about that snowstorm?
Yeah. So somebody asked where we're from. So I'm in New Jersey, not Old Jersey, which is an island. I'm in New Jersey, which is part of the United States here. So that snowstorm is kind of interesting because we're supposed to get snow, but the models and the forecasts and such and everything kind of doesn't agree where, how much, Like for example, they're saying we're probably gonna get, I don't know, like anywhere from quarter of an inch to 15 inches. Okay. What's going on there?
I mean,
But they yeah,
sounds a little bit like Alabama, where they're saying, "Oh, you're going to get a quarter inch. You might end up with like 3 inches or 5 inches." But you know what? If it moves north just a tad bit, you're not going to get crap. And congratulations, you didn't get crap.
yeah.
And
So
all
I was
you got
watching on
is
your
a bunch of rain.
yeah. I
Cold
was
rain.
watching on your last live stream. That was great. That was great. That was a great guest. You asked a lot of great questions. I think you did pretty good. So, maybe if you do more like
I
that.
definitely appreciate it. I definitely appreciate it. Um.
Mhm.
So yes.
All
Let's
right.
see.
So tonight we're going to talk about the road to extra, right? We're going to because you got
Yes.
your general and you want to go to extra because you want to go to extra.
You want me to tell you the real reason why I want to go extra?
Let's hear it.
You really want to know?
I want to know.
You really want to know?
Come on.
It's
Just
because
tell me already.
I came across this song, and no, I'm joking. I'm joking. There's this actually called song by this person called Queen, but it's with a VEEN called
Uh-huh.
Vitamin.
Okay.
Extra, extra. Um, just joking, just joking. No, I just really want to do the whole extra because after talking to you and realizing all these extra bands ranges I can
Right.
get. And
Yeah.
then when that whole QSO party happened this weekend and I was doing QRP, there was hardly anybody using as much of the extra band as they were using the general band. And guess what? I could
What?
have probably made more contacts on extra than on my general when using
Yeah.
QRP. So
So
you know
essentially,
what? I
yeah,
want to do extra.
that's kind of, the whole thing. So I did a whole video on why the extra is worth getting. And I think you've seen a light. So we're going to talk about how you're going to actually get the extra. Okay.
No, Ape did not talk me into it. I talked my own self into it after I talked to wonderful, magnificent Rhea over here. Oh, over there. There you go. I apologize. Over there. So all I'm saying is
Mhm.
when I get my extra, I'm making moves in silence, as in like y'all aren't gonna know when I get my extra or when I take my test, kind of like y'all did with my general. And then I'm just gonna pop on with a shirt made by my friend Dixie Dally. That's gonna say extra, extra, cat got it.
Oh, like a newspaper.
Boom, 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 boom.
Like the
Yep.
newspaper, right? You're going to say, is it going to be
Sorry. I'm drinking sweet tea and it's kind of like made me really, really hyped up. So
okay? All right. So anyway, um, yeah. So so the benefits of extra are more space. One, two, more space where the DX is, right? And also more space where you know in crowded bands like 40 meters. So for example, 40 meters, as I explained, has broadcast on the top segment, but then the broadcast free segment is from 7.1 to 7.2. Then you have the generals in 7.175 to 7.2. They're kind of stuck in that little segment, and then you have this whole 7.125 to 7.175 for extra. And then On 80 meters, it's a little more dramatic. Extras get all the way down to from 3.6 to 3.8, whereas generals only get 3.8 to 4.0. So, yeah, I generally stay below 3.8 because it's less crowded and you don't have the alcohol-fueled crowd up above.
Talking about alcohol-fueled
Yeah.
crowd. I'm glad about that.
Right. And you can be a VE too, as Ed Sweeney, AC3IK, said. You can be a VE. So that's good. But I'm sure we also have news tonight. So let's hear the news.
Oh, man, you're going to make me do the news now.
I sent you some news articles, though, did I?
I know you sent me news articles. Just because you sent me news articles doesn't really mean I want to do the news. No, I'm joking. I'm doing it.
I know. Well,
I'm just messing with people. So, online classes are helping boost ham radio in India. So, after seeing a dip in 2021, Benegalaru's interest in amateur radio has picked up again thanks to online classes. And in 2021, only 60 candidates were from Bengaluru, courtesy COVID. The Indian Institute of Hams was not able to conduct its offline examinations. In 2022, roughly 181 candidates are expected to sit in for the exams this month.
Yeah. So, I've had so contrary to popular belief, I'm not from India. That's my heritage, right? That's like where my ancestors came on the big boats, okay? Where they came to the Caribbean to cut sugar cane and pick cocoa from the plantations. But I am connected to the Indian diaspora. I know a lot of Indian people, and I met up. We should have her on the show. We had I spoke to Bharati V2RBI, and she's very active in India. They have a lot of interest in amateur radio in India, especially now, with backup communications and also STEM and such like that. So it's nice to see this going. And I remember we had another Indian guest on, Farhan. So yeah, yep. So Lon is saying the extra is attractive for CEPT and IERP. Yeah, and I did a video on that too, where we talked about operating overseas. That's a good one. You could just start complaining what's killing
I love Ron's comment. I can start complaining on what's killing ham radio. What's killing ham radio is idiots.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's all I'm going to say is idiots. That's the IDIOTS idiots. Yeah, and people making stupid videos about why things are killing ham radio just to get clicks and clickbait. We won't go into all that.
Throw my phone away. I'm going to throw my phone against the wall, okay?
What, when people do that? Yeah, I do too. Or better yet, Rhea. I want you to know once I get my extra, I'm quitting YouTube and quitting ham radio. I'm just gonna not do anything at that point. Yeah, totally gonna do it. 100%. I'm just gonna go, boom, no more YouTube. And you might see me on the air or not. I'm just gonna rock that extra, and you ain't gonna see me, and I'm gonna dip out.
Yeah.
Bye. See ya.
Yeah. Right. Uh-oh. What happened? Can you put your... Okay.
It was funny because you weren't expecting it.
Right. Okay.
What? So we were talking about me, getting off YouTube. Never mind.
I was like, okay. She just disappeared. That's funny. All right. Okay.
ID10 error. Yes, ID10T error. Yes, most definitely. That's very, very common.
Yeah.
This one is right up your alley. This is your best friend on the West Coast, Mr. Elon Musk.
Oh, really? Okay. He lives in Texas now, by the way.
You have a Tesla, so it's kind of like, yeah.
I know.
You might be his bestie now, because yeah. So basically, the Elon Musk SpaceX rocket on collision course with the moon. So the BBC News, which is British Broadcasting News report, a rocket launched by Elon Musk space exploration company is on course to crash into the moon and explode. The Falcon 9 booster was launched in 2015, but after completing its mission, it did not have enough fuel to return towards Earth and instead remained in space.
Mm.
So the astronomer Jonathan McDowell told the BBC News it will be the first known uncontrolled rocket collision with the moon, but the
Wow.
effects will be minor, he says. The rocket was abandoned in high orbit 7 years ago after it completed a mission to send a space weather satellite on a million-mile journey. It was part of Mr. Musk's space exploration program, Spacex, a commercial company that ultimately aims to get humans living on other planets. And in 2015, the rocket has been pulled by different gravitational forces of the Earth, Moon, and Sun, making its path somewhat chaotic, explains Professor McDowell. And from the US-based Harvard Smithsonian Center for Astrophysics, it's been dead, just following the laws of gravity. So, over decades, there may have been 50 large objects that we've totally lost track of. This might have happened to a bunch of times before. We just didn't notice. This would be the first confirmed case, Professor McDowell says. So basically, if you're in the woods and a bear was to crap in the woods, would you hear it? Or was that the tree falls in the woods type situation, is what he's trying to say. So did it really even happen? Don't know.
Yeah. That's interesting. Yeah, so Elon kind of moved to Texas now. He basically had it with California.
He was originally West Coast. Okay, and then after I said that, I kind of realized, he moved to Texas because he wanted to be a yeehaw cowboy. Yeehaw!
Or maybe he just doesn't want to pay California's high taxes too.
Or maybe he just wants to ride the horse.
But you know the real reason, right? And you're a tax professional. He doesn't want to pay California's.
He owes the IRS a lot of money, and this is what he has decided to do. He stocks. And when I sell off my stocks to pay the IRS what I owe them, I'm going to have to pay the IRS more money because I just sold my stocks for gains. So there you go.
No, California was kind of like, taxing, but then they had all the rules and such like that for COVID and such. But yeah, so this is kind of interesting.
It's a weird one.
I didn't realize that the booster was just on a collision course to the moon. I wish we could.
He's autistic either.
Yeah, he's on the spectrum. I think he said he's on the spectrum.
He's on the spectrum. He said it on Saturday Night Live.
Yep. Yeah, that was very entertaining, actually.
That was, because that was the night that Dogecoin, instead of going up in price, went boom.
It went down.
Yeah. Everybody was like, he's going to mention Doge. He's going to mention Doge. And it's just going to go skyrocket.
It's going to go to the moon, right?
Exactly. Go to the moon. But then all it did was go.
So we can make a joke about going to the moon about this. Okay. You're going to go to the moon and crash.
Yep. Got to go to the moon party.
Yeah.
Moon party. All right. So the ARES team activates in the wake of bombing in Central Washington.
Centralia.
So the Amateur Radio Emergency Service team of Centralia, Washington, activated following an early morning bombing on December 19th. Authorities say 2 men planted the bomb, which blew up the ATM at a local bank. The Washington State Patrol Bomb Squad and the FBI responded to assist Centralia Police Department in this investigation. The ARES team staged its communications van next to the scene. The 13 ARES team members who responded to a call for assistance were paired with CPT detectives to assist in the evidence search at the crime scene. The team members had been trained to perform evidence searches for the police department and were able to put those skills to work. Teams of 3 to 5 members, led by the detective, gloved up and slowly searched the estimated 10,000 square foot around the bank, along nearby railroad tracks, and an adjoining field, retrieving as many potential pieces of evidence as they could find. The team was released after about an hour. So, they actually helped gather evidence for a bomb. However, we do not know what else happened after that, or if the people who blew up the ATM got away with it or whatnot. So, don't blow up ATMs. Seriously.
Yeah, I'm not, that's weird.
So,
Yeah, I don't normally talk about work, but we were the first ones to put an ATM anywhere. So that's your homework for tonight.
I mean, just don't blow them up.
I know.
You don't even try to like tie them up to the back end of your vehicle and try to rip them out, because all you're going to do is probably end up ripping your truck bed
Trailer
off.
hitch. So you can't hang any more truck nuts on
bumper, truck bed, all that kind of stuff. So apparently they're idiots. Yes, they blew up all the money too, which is an idiot.
Yeah.
Be a smart criminal. Don't be a stupid one. That's mine.
Yeah, that's
if you're gonna be a criminal, be smart about it. Don't be stupid.
23 million lawn. That's a lot of not Bitcoin, but a lot of Shiba Inu.
Shiba Inu.
Yeah, I have some fractions of Bitcoins that I mined. Not a lot.
I have fractions in my head.
Yeah.
Of doing fractional math with the child. What's become a regular March event is the next QSO Today Virtual Ham Expo, which will be held live from March the 12th through the 13th, and then on demand for 30 days after. More than 60 speakers will deliver presentations on their subject areas.
Mm-hmm.
So there's content for everyone, from either newly licensed hams looking for the next steps or hams looking for new projects. Presentations include core HF communication concepts, fundamentals of shortwave propagation, deep dive of an FPGA DVB-S2 implementation, fun with nano VNA, and helically wound vertical for 160 meters. Is that wound vertical? The complete list of presentations is available on Virtual Expo, Ham Expo homepage. So the ARRL is actually part of this as well. They are an expo partner, and early bird tickets will go on sale on February 1st, and the tickets are $10 through March 6th. So make sure you get your ticket for $10 if you want to do the Virtual Ham Expo. I have actually went on to the Virtual Ham Expo before, and it was actually kind of neat. Everybody had their own little vendor booths, and you got to click on it. And actually, there's a video on it on my channel. So if you really want to see what it originally looked like, you can go there to see if that's something that you actually want to do.
Oh yeah, I presented in the past. I kind of thought about it doing it this time. I just I couldn't find the bandwidth for it really. So I think next time I'll do. Eric did ask, but unfortunately I couldn't. I didn't submit anything. I got a number of things going on here. So
Ed actually said and the M17 group is actually going to be doing a presentation at this Ham Expo.
Of course, yeah. They're really good guys. They do a lot of good stuff, and I have to present them with an award. Well, somebody has to present them with an award.
Haven't you been trying to track them down and say, here's your award, and it's nobody ever really I don't know. It's kind of hard.
Probably.
Yeah. You could just throw it at them.
Yeah.
Maybe it would just stick.
Probably.
Maybe.
Yeah.
It might take them 7 years to eventually get it. Kind of like the moon's going to get it from the Falcon.
And what's the next news item?
Oh, you're going to keep me on course now. Amateur radio digital communication grants continue. Its largest funding a variety of projects through individual grants. Among the latest is a nearly $900,000 award that will permit the Internet Archive to build a digital library of amateur radio and communications, an online open source resource that preserves the vital resources, past, present, and future, that document the history of amateur radio and communications, as the project proposal explained. Internet Archive is a nonprofit library of millions of free books, movies, software, music, websites, and more.
Yeah. ARDC, they're doing a lot of things, you know. They're doing a lot of things, and you know, I've had a lot of discussion. They have their virtual community meeting coming up. If you look at their, they've been announcing on Twitter where they have there at ARDC 73. They have their. I'm trying to find it here. Yeah, so they're one of my followers. Yeah, come on to their virtual. I'll put the link here. So they have a virtual community meeting on Saturday, right, where they are going to talk about stuff. I actually attended another event which was by invitation only, called Visioning and Goals, where we talked about you know, a number of different things that they would be doing. But this one is where they say, okay, well, it's a community meeting. We're going to tell you what we're doing and probably seek your input too from the general public. So I just put that in the chat. That's going to be pretty interesting. So yeah, I appreciate the work they do. You know, Phil Karn and Rosie and John Hayes and all these guys, and Bob McGuire. Bob McGuire is on the board of directors there. They do pretty good stuff. So there is one more bit of news that probably all heard this already. I'm going to be in Orlando, so you know.
Yes, you are going to be in Orlando. I am not going to be able to go to Orlando, but you guess what? I will be sending Rhea some stickers to give out, and they're going to be signed. No,
that's awesome. I didn't even know that. You see.
Yeah, I told you that like last stream, but you weren't paying attention. I mean, I didn't say it loud enough like I did this time, but
yeah. So I will be there. You know, I'm going to be working. Of course, I'll be mostly with the development booth, basically trying to fundraise. You know, trying to raise money, asking people for donations and to support various funds and all sorts of stuff. So look for me there, but I'll be walking the grounds too. I'll be hanging out, you know, I'll be at some of the before and after events because that's what I do, right? And then I'll be there.
Yes.
So if any of y'all's going to Orlando Hamcation, I'm going to be there from the 9th to the 14th, and you know, come on, meet me and hang out, you know. So
yeah, I mean, Rhea's cool and all, and unfortunately, I'm not going to be there.
So cool.
So, yeah.
Alrighty. So tonight we're going to talk about the road to extra, and the road to extra. So, it's kind of interesting that you say that, because when I got my American ham license, I never intended to get extra. Okay, I went in and I said, you know what, I'll take a general and I'll walk out there and use that. And then the examiners told me, no, why don't you take the extra? So when I went in, I took the tech, I passed the tech, I took the general, easy. And then they say, take the extra. I'm like, okay, maybe I'll try it. And I passed because most of it was common sense. So tonight we're going to talk about how you can apply some of that common sense. Of course, you're going to be using ham radio prep, right, for some of that?
Yes, I'm actually going to be using ham radio prep, believe it or not.
All right. So, and yeah, that's fine. They have question pool, and I just want to go over some of the things that people trip up on in the extra, and we could possibly get some help with that. Okay.
Okay.
So the element 4 question pool, and let me just see if I could bring this up. Right. Okay. So there are a number of study resources I like, to direct people to. Of course, the ARRL books. You have the Dave Kassler courses. You have Ham Radio Prep. You have Gordon West. And then, yeah, and no, not commercial. Gosh, I'm looking for technician general question pools with answers. With question only and correct answers. Okay. Extra 2024. Okay. Wow. Okay. Come on, I swore I had this. Just 1 second. All right. Well, anyway, while I get that up, what else have you been up to lately?
Nothing actually. I'm doing a couple of little videos this weekend. So that is what I'm going to be doing. And I'm also going to do videos on the QRP radio and how I have everything set up. And then I'm also going to do a series that a lot of people who have gotten their general lately. I'm going to show them how easy it is to pretty much set stuff up and on a budget, I guess. I kind of got lucky where somebody loaned me the radio that I'm doing.
Right.
But the thing about it is that radio is not expensive. And Joseph Collins also pointed out that the let's see here, that the G90 is not an expensive radio either. Right. The antenna I have is like a $360 antenna, but I didn't pay anything for it. So that was one of the things that I kind of got lucky with. But KM4ACK, he's got a good antenna. K6, oh lordy. Adam, he's got his new little bitty QRP antenna that he's come out with. So these guys are coming out with really good antennas, and like KM4ACKs is like $39. So it's an in-fed half wave. So yeah.
Okay. So I brought up hamstudy.org, right? And we're going to go through a few of these. We're going to start you off real easy, okay?
You're going to take it easy on me?
I think, well, we're going to show you the correct answers, and, we'll explain why, okay? So here we have an element 1A, the E1A, extra 1A. They have sub-element E1 commission's rules, right? Let's see. They have like several of these here. And then, so we'll start with that. I think this is the easy part of the extra, right? So you have operating standards, frequency privileges, automatic message forwarding, etc. Power restriction on 630 and 2200. And I know, frankly, I know a lot of these because I have practical experience as an operator. So, like, for example, which of the following carrier frequencies is illegal for lower sideband AFSK? You have to know what those two are, okay? So AFSK stands for audio frequency shift keying, where you put in a signal into the radio and it would generate, carriers that are varying in frequency around the center frequency. On the 17-meter band, RTTY, and data segment of 18068 to 18110. So this is a really just complicated question designed to trip and confuse you but really it's just asking one thing.
Right.
Really, all it's asking is the and I mean, I get why they do this, right? I mean, this is tame compared to like the FAA, who asks you, who has like, if you take like a private pilot's exam or even the remote pilot drone exam, is really, really, they word this thing to trip you. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So the band is 18068 to 18110,
Mm-hmm.
right? And you're doing lower sideband.
Right.
You cannot go below the lower segment, right? So if you are on one of these choices, they tell you 18068 is the lowest. That's is the lower edge. So if you do lower sideband, you can't go lower than that, right? Okay.
Right.
So let's see another one here. Yeah, it said in lower sideband, the transmitted energy falls below the suppressed carrier. Okay. Yeah, cool. When using a transceiver that displays the carrier frequency of phone signals, which of the following displayed frequencies represents the lowest frequency at which a properly adjusted lower sideband emission will be totally within band? And they tell you the answer is 3 kilohertz above the lower band edge. Have you ever come across that 3 kilohertz rule when you're operating now as a general?
Like 3 kilowatts, like where you can't be above or below the band is where you want your waterfall to be, where you're
Right.
not
So
over
yeah.
onto other people, so you're not over modulation is what it's called, I believe.
Okay. Yeah. So you want the sidebands to be within the band, right? So
Mm-hmm.
you're as a general, you can operate on 20 meters, you can operate on 14 to 25 and up, right?
Right.
Okay. Oh, let's do 40 meters. Okay, I just talked about 40 meters early. And 40 meters you use lower sideband, right?
Mm-hmm.
And general segment is from 7175 and up, right?
Yes.
Okay. Phone segment. If you were to operate a lower sideband signal at 7175, will you be in frequency or not?
No,
Okay, and why is that?
because your waterfall is actually going to be going over 3 degrees that way and 3 degrees up.
Right, 3
Okay.
kilohertz left,
Yes.
lower and upper. Okay, yeah, and this, you see, this is all they're really asking you, you know. So when using a transceiver, it displays the carrier frequency 3 kilohertz above the lower band edge, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this is extra. You see, this is totally doable. What is the
Mm-hmm.
maximum legal carrier frequency on a 20-meter band for transmitting upper sideband, right? So
Mm-hmm.
data goes from 14.1 to 14.15, right?
Yes.
And they're 1 kilohertz bandwidth. And explain to me why the answer is C.
Because the
Same, remember, it's the same
14.100.
principle as before, right?
Well, 14.100, that's within the band
Yeah.
range that we're looking at. And then 14.070 is also within that band range.
Mm-hmm.
And then 14.349 is actually within the is not even a digital, it is sideband. So
It's in the phone segment, yeah.
yeah. So the other one would be the correct answer.
Right.
Process of
Okay.
elimination. If
Yeah,
you know.
but right. So the maximum legal carrier so good, you did process of elimination. That's valid too, right?
Yes.
This one, they tell you 1 kilohertz bandwidth, right?
Uh-huh.
And then the phone segment starts at 150. So you count 1 kilohertz below that, that's 14.149.
Yeah, you can do it that way too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Number 42 is the meaning of life. Yeah.
The meaning of life, really.
I want to spell out my name on people's. Don, I think, I used to do that with DM780 back when Ham Radio Deluxe was free. I think you can do that now with FL Digi, you know? But that's like spelling your call sign. Okay. All right. So let's see here now. Let's go back to Ham study. All right. When you're transceiver displaying the carrier frequency of phone signals, you hear a DX station calling CQ on 3601 LSB. So bear in mind that the extra phone segments on 3600, right? 3600, okay? And the station's calling CQ on lower sideband on 3601. Is it legal? Yeah, and you're muted.
I'm looking at my stuff. Hold on. I'm going to go with on that one. I'm definitely going to go with no, because you need to be 3 kilohertz upper. So you need to be at 3.603 because it's on the
Exactly. Yeah. So no, the sideband will extend below the edge of the phone band segment.
I told you.
You get so good at this, okay? Because you can actually ferret out an answer without even looking at the choices.
I know, but I looked at my chart. See,
Yeah.
if they allow me to have something, I would have this.
Unfortunately, you got to remember it, right?
I know.
But
okay.
it's really not that hard, because look, for 160, 30, 17, and 12, all right? All of those bands have full privileges for general, advanced, and extra, okay? The other bands, the core bands, like 80, 40, 15, 20, and 10, they divide them up, So you're never really going to, it's not a lot to remember. You just need to, you have to just figure out, well, okay, am I in the segment? Well, yeah, so yeah, but just remember it. All right, let's see what else. What is the maximum power output permitted on a 60-meter band? That one's just a rote memorization, and but hazard a guess.
I want to say 60-meter band. 60-meter band. Hold on. Let me find my band range here to get my memory. I'm gonna go with all right, you're gonna have to tell me.
All right, so the answer is 100 watts, right? And the reason is
I was either gonna do 100 watts or 200, but I couldn't find it on this thing. So,
but it's 100 watts relative to a dipole. So basically, here's the thing about 60 meters. 60 meters is a very special case, right? 60 meters is not like other bands where they tell you 100 watts PEP or 200 watts PEP or 1500 watts PEP, basically, and they don't really regulate antenna gain. 60 meters is different in that they tell you that, okay, you have to have 100 watts, but it must be effective radiated power, meaning not only the power going to your antenna, but also the power with your antenna gain taken into account, right? And it must be 100 watts relative to a dipole. So basically, 100 watts into a dipole, right? And I have a dipole for 60. That's what I use on the band, right? Okay. Where must the carrier of a CW signal? So this is another one you got to remember about 60 meters. The 60-meter band is special. They want your carrier in the center, right? And I was actually having this conversation with David Siddall, who's the ARRL lawyer for the FCC, and about this whole thing. And we're talking about data transmissions and stuff like that. And then, but you must have, if you're transmitting CW, it's at the center of the channel, okay? What is the maximum power permitted on the 2200 meter band? This one you got to remember too. So you know there are bands below 160, right? There's 630 and 2200, which are like really, really long wave bands. 1 watt EIRP. Okay, so it's 1 watt, right? And then
Yes.
I think 630 is like 10 watts or something like that, or 5 watts. Okay. If a station in a message forwarding system inadvertently forwards a message that's in violation, who is primarily accountable? That would be
The control operator of the originating station.
right. And the reason is that the FCC, this is a rule to protect the innocent, where if somebody sends off, I don't know, they send a pornographic picture.
Speaking of which,
Uh-huh.
of that you brought that up, Apple came out with underneath screen time for kids. So all these parents who have no idea what screen time is, it's basically putting your kid's phone into literal jail.
Yeah.
So basically, what it is that they actually came up with a new setting, and I just found this out the other day. It is actually called communication safety,
Right.
where you can check for sensitive photos, like porno photos that are sent or viewed on your child's device. And then you can view safety resources for the children and things like that. And it'll actually help you be able to talk to your child.
Yeah.
And so basically, they can detect the photos before they're sent or viewed on your child's device and provide guidance and age appropriate resources to help them make a safe choice. Apple does not have access to the photos. So, on this note, while they don't have access to the photos, but
Yeah.
they will let you know that your child's getting an inappropriate photo.
Right. Oh, interesting. So yeah, if you send out one of those inappropriate photos, the originating station, the FCC is going to come down on them. Of course, if you have an automatic message forwarding system like Packet Radio Digipeater or something like that, the FCC is going to basically, they're going to, they'll yell at you, but they're not going to fine you or anything, most likely, Yeah, what actions should you take if your digital message forwarding station inadvertently forwards communication that violates FCC rules? Discontinue forwarding the communication as soon as you become aware of it. So all this is common sense,
Yeah, that's common sense. I mean, duh.
Yeah.
This is not an ID10 problem.
Right. Oh, let me ask you a question. So let's say you go on a cruise, okay? And you want to take ham radio on a cruise. I don't know for what reason. You're going on vacation. You want to take a ham radio. I could know, is K8MRD in the chat?
No.
Okay.
He's K8MRD is currently doing Winter Field Day with 2.0 and other people at 2.0's hunting lease, and they plan on blowing up a bunch of crap.
Don says we don't send porn on SSTV. Yeah, that comes from Russia, okay?
Yes,
Or Romania.
Or Romania. I mean, yes, I get those things all the time.
I got QSL cards with topless women. Yeah.
Seriously?
Yeah. Like, hello, why are you sending this to me? But yeah. Anyway.
Do they put it in an envelope?
No, this one comes through the QSL Bureau. So
and they didn't think to question that. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So well, yeah. Yeah, Brian, 60 meters is kind of like, we're not complaining. So, nobody's really complaining. But anyway, the other question is, if a station is installed aboard a ship or aircraft, what condition must be met before the station is operated? Who do you always ask permission to do anything on a ship or a plane?
The captain.
The captain or the pilot, right? Right.
Well,
The pilot in
pilot, I
command.
guess, if it's in the air, and captain
Right.
if it's on a ship. But technically, the pilot is technically the captain on
Yeah.
a airplane
So
too, and
yeah.
also on a pirate ship, because I've been watching a new show on Hulu called Black Sails, which talks about pirates.
Right. So yeah, so it must be approved by the master of the ship, which is the captain, or the pilot in command of the aircraft. So you must have the captain's permission. So people talk about taking ham radio on a cruise. A lot of cruise lines don't allow amateur radio, right? Some of them do, but you have to get permission in writing from the captain. Which of the following describe? This is the same question. Which of the following describes authorization or licensing required when operating an amateur station aboard in a U.S. registered vessel in the international waters? The answer is
The FCC issued amateur licensee, which is not an ID10 problem.
okay, right. So any FCC issued amateur license, okay. Let's see here. So you don't need actually. So if you're operating on a U.S. registered vessel, you don't have to get a special reciprocal license. What special operating frequency restrictions are imposed on slow scan TV transmissions? And the answer is
They're restricted to phone band segments.
yeah, because generally the phone band is where you have phone and image communications allowed. Okay. Who must be in physical control of the station apparatus of an amateur station aboard any vessel or craft as documented or registered in the United States? The answer is
Any person holding an FCC issued license or authorized as an alien reciprocal license.
right. Okay, good. Except in some parts of Alaska, what's the maximum power permitted on the 630-meter band? And we did that earlier. That was
5 watts.
5 watts, yeah. So this is ERP, okay? You have to understand what ERP is, right? ERP is the power that comes out of your antenna, that doesn't go into your antenna, right? The power that comes out of your antenna is ERP. So this means for a highly inefficient antenna on 630, you can actually put in a lot of power and then it will be wasted and you'll end up with 5 watts ERP. That's kind of wild. 630 is a real interesting band because you have to register with a kind of like a nonprofit agency called the Utilities Technology Council before you could operate there. Let's see. Let's try a few more. We're gonna end soon, but see, operating procedures. Okay. And an ascending path for an amateur satellite goes from
south to north.
Right. So it goes from south to north, right? So you think you're going up, right? Which of the following occurs when a satellite is using an inverting linear transponder?
All the choices.
Yeah, so Doppler shift is reduced because the uplink and downlink shifts are in opposite directions. Signal position on the band is reversed. Upper sideband on the uplink becomes lower sideband on the downlink and vice versa. So it's an inverting linear transponder, which means that it basically flips everything, It basically flips all the signals. How is a signal inverted by an inverting linear transponder? And this one you kind of, the signals. Go ahead, read it out.
The signal is passed through a mixer and the difference rather than the sum is transmitted.
Right.
This is like a math question.
Well, it's not really a math question. So when you mix two signals, right, you get the sum and the difference, right? So the sum is, you have two frequencies. Let's say you have 10 megahertz and 10 kilohertz, right? Mixed together. You're going to get 10 10 megahertz plus 10 kilohertz, and you're going to get 10 megahertz minus 10 kilohertz. So you're going to get, you're going to get two signals. That's how AM signals have sidebands, by the way, because the audio frequency is mixed in. And then what they do is they mix in, one signal with a carrier, and then they just take the difference rather than the sum. So, what is meant by the term mode as applied to an amateur radio satellite?
The satellite's uplink and downlink frequency bands.
Right.
That's what it
So
says.
yeah, so they have different modes for satellites, and they depend on the uplink and downlink frequencies, right?
Mhm.
And then so they have like mode A, 2 meters uplink and 10 meters downlink. Mode B, 70 centimeters uplink and 2 meters downlink. Mode J, 2 meters uplink and 70 centimeters downlink. Right? So yeah. A, B, and J.
Okay.
Yeah, interesting. Okay, what do the letters, this is the same question as before. What do the letters in a satellite's mode designator specify?
The uplink and downlink frequency ranges. I mean, isn't that what they just asked?
Yeah.
Redundant
Right.
redundancy questions. Is that what we're calling these now?
Yeah. Ooh, Keplerian elements. And I'll talk about this a little bit. What are Keplerian elements?
Heck if I know, but according to this thing, it says parameters that define the orbit of a satellite.
So the Keplerian elements are basically the people call them keps, right? They're basically parameters that the satellite, because every satellite in orbit has a predictable pattern, right? So they have like a list of parameters in there, and you could plug that into software, and then the software will calculate the orbit and position of the satellites, right? And then Johannes Kepler, and then you can see here orbital elements. You have 6 elements. You have the eccentricity, the shape of the ellipse. This is heavy math. You don't need to know. The semi-major axis, the inclination, longitude of the ascending node, and then argument of periapsis, and then true anomaly. So yeah, so you have all this, and then you can calculate the orbit, but that's just by the way. Which of the following types of signals can be relayed through a linear transponder?
All these choices are correct. So it's like the
Right.
FM and CW,
Yeah.
single sideband and SSTV, PSK, and packet.
So a linear transponder is just that, right? It just basically takes signal in and inputs, everything it sees on the input. So it's like widebanded, right?
Right.
Whereas like an FM satellite actually takes FM input like a repeater, and then converts that to audio and then retransmits that on FM. So whereas this one just takes raw signal and transmit that back out. Why should effective radiated power to a satellite that uses a linear transponder be limited?
Let's see. There should be an effective radiated power to avoid reducing the downlink power to all the other users. So I guess to prevent overload.
Right. Well,
is that it? Kind of,
yeah,
sort of.
To sort of to avoid reducing the downlink power to all other users. So basically, what happens is that on a satellite you have a very limited power budget, right? You have like these satellites run on solar, right? They have solar panels on them, and they have batteries on them too. And what happened is you have like a limited amount of power. So you basically once you use, if you have a high power, you might take away from all the other transponders. There are a lot of other transponders on the satellite. Okay, what are the terms L band and S band specify regarding satellite communications?
3 centimeter and 13 centimeter bands.
That would be correct. Yes. So L band and S
That's what it
band.
says. I'm just going by what the answer says at the moment. So
Yeah. You have a number
now
of
you're gonna
different.
explain
You
to me.
have like L band, S band, C band. C band is like those big dishes you used to see people have, you know, big satellite dishes. Yeah, that was technically
You mean
C
for like
band.
DirecTV and Dish Network satellite dishes?
No,
Or are
no,
you
no.
talking about
This
the
is
big
real
humongous
old school
satellite
stuff.
dishes like
Like this is real. This is
oh
before
yeah, yeah,
DirecTV
yeah,
and
the
Dish
big
Network.
humongous satellite dish looking things that people had. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, the big ones. Yeah. So this was like
Yeah, they're like as big as a house, right?
yeah. They're in C band.
Okay.
Yeah, and those satellites
Okay.
only put out like 4 to 12 watts, really. 10 gigahertz
Those
of
are
X
things are so
band.
huge, man.
Sorry.
I said those things are so huge. The big satellite
Yeah,
dishes.
some of them are like 30 feet across because they have to receive a lot of signal. No, they have to, they have
Mm.
to have a lot of gain.
Oh.
What type of satellite appears to stay one position in the sky? Geostationary.
Well, I think that would actually, be kind of like, obvious for that choice because it has
Yeah.
stationary in it.
Yeah, so a geostationary satellite is in a particular belt of the Earth's orbit where so everything orbiting the Earth moves at a different speed, right?
Mhm.
But the geostationary satellites actually move at the same speed as the Earth. Okay, so they appear to be in one position. So they orbit, with the Earth's rotation. All right, and we're gonna finish up here now. What type of antenna can be used to minimize the effects of spin modulation? So the answer is a circularly polarized.
Circularly polarized antenna.
Yeah, so basically, when you have spin modulation, you use a circularly polarized antenna to receive. Um, okay, what's the purpose of storing forward digital forward functions?
To store digital messages in the satellite
Right.
for later download by other stations.
Yeah, so these would be like pocket radio, basically,
Yes.
All right, and then of course they tell you which of the following techniques is normally used by low Earth orbiting digital satellites to relay messages around the world. The answer is
Store and forward.
okay. All right, I think that's all we're gonna do tonight because it is getting a little late. But yeah, this. So look, a lot of stuff is not too hard, right? I mean, the math you're doing in extra later on is really not that. It's not that involved. You can memorize a lot of stuff.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
I did a crash course on the general
Mhm.
within
So
yeah,
we could go over some of these next time, but we could do some other study. Of course, you could keep banging on ham radio prep, the
I think you
app,
can
and
I think
yeah,
that you taught me the general and stuff and
right.
doing different things about that aren't known, I guess. That would kind
Right.
of help, I guess. I don't know.
So
That helped me a lot. Ham radio prep helped me a lot. The whole 48 hours of cram session helped me with the general. However, I am told that that's probably not going to work for the extra. So I might have to do a 7-day cram session instead.
yeah,
Done
the
for the
extra is
extra.
a little the extra is a little more involved. I mean, I did not study for the extra, okay, but that's because I already
You're
knew
awesome,
ham radio.
but
But yeah, so I already had a license in Trinidad, so I already knew all the stuff, and I was a practicing radio amateur, so I know stuff. But you can do it. I have confidence that you can do it. Okay. All right, we're
well,
gonna
I have
wrap it up.
confidence.
I hope I
Thanks
don't
for
get snowed
joining,
in.
everybody. Yeah, 2 chicks and a radio. For all those people out there getting snowed in, do not make snow cream and stay away from the yellow snow. Um, Don't be using any of those satellite dishes with any sort of oil or anything else on them to make your sledding go faster. I highly do not recommend that. If you need a crash course on that, check out Christmas Vacation, where they slide down and they catch themselves on fire. So, on that note, don't do it. You're trying to drink and I'm making you laugh.
Well, this is water, okay? This is
I
not
know.
anything else but
Look.
water.
I'm out of my tea.
Mhm.
So anyway, ladies and gentlemen,
This is
thank
an
you for
undisclosed
joining us
drink.
tonight. Yes, do not forget to like and subscribe both channels. Otherwise, you are going to actually miss out on this awesomeness of both of us ladies. And that's going to make giving you a sad face. And we don't want sad faces around here. We want bright and cheery faces. Yeah, like that. So 73 guys. And if you have any show ideas or anything, just shoot us an email and, we might do it. So,
Yeah.
anyway.
So I'm almost at 10K on Rhea Chatcam Radio.
Oh, yes. If you haven't gotten subscribe to her channel, make sure you do, because she's almost at 10K.
And we're gonna have giveaway 10K.
Yeah, she's gonna have a 10K giveaway. I need about 501 more subscribers to get to 2,000 for my channel. So yeah. So yes, do not pee on those electric fences either. I highly do not recommend that. I'm sure there's a YouTube video or something on that somewhere about why you should not do that. So so go hit our like buttons, go hit our notification bells, and don't forget to check us out. And we'll be here at the same time next week. And I will have videos coming up next week. And Rhea's got her Sunday live stream on her channel. And what time is that, Rhea?
That's 9:30. It might, and it depends on what else is being streamed on Sundays by other channels too. I try not to clash with them, but I usually go for 9:30, 9:45. I don't want to go too late because I realize it's Sunday night and a lot of people want to get Monday morning. So
I mean, everybody wants to wake up Monday morning and go pee on that electrical fence. That's called so anyway, bye everybody.
73.
73.